Hey fellow enthusiast, if you want to know how a Barbie doll changed my life, then this video is for you.
Here we go.
Hey fellow enthusiasts, this is Tommy Lanham and I am on a mission to break the monotony of the mundane and the mediocre by bringing as much enthusiasm to as many businesses, ministries, marriages, and individual lives as I possibly can. Hey, when I was about 4 years old, we lived up in northern Kentucky, just south of Cincinnati. My parents had talked about moving back down to the London Corbin area in a little place called Keevy. They'd been talking about this, but they just had not finalized that decision. Again, I was 4 years old. One night, several people were over at our house. A lot of us kids were watching television in the living room. A lot of the parents and the other adults were in the kitchen. I think they were playing cards. And I went and got one of my sister's Barbie dolls. And I got a lighter from somebody who had been smoking over at the house. And I went into my mom and dad's bedroom. And I set that Barbie doll's hair on fire. And I threw it onto my mom and dad's bed. And then I walked back into the living room and sat down and continued watching television. A lot of the adults over there had been smoking. The house was kind of full of smoke already. And that whole bedroom was in flames before anybody knew it. But man, once they noticed it, chaos began to break out. And the weird thing about this is, I was only 4 years old. I don't remember anything else when I was 4 years old, but I remember this event like it was yesterday. The fire department came as they were going into the house. My dad had guns in the bedroom and it had gotten into the ammunition and bullets had started going off, and so they backed out of the house. Nobody was hurt, but it was just a crazy, crazy time. And because of that house fire, my mom and dad decided to go ahead and move back to Keevy, Kentucky. Now here's the interesting thing. When we lived up in northern Kentucky, we seldom went to church. But when we moved back down to Keevy, my mom took my sister and I to church where she had grown up, and my grandparents were still going to this church. And we began to go on a regular basis. And it was here that I first began to get consistent teaching about Jesus. Now, let's fast forward a little bit to about 14 years old, and I had come to the conclusion that I wanted to give my life to Jesus. I made that decision. I came forward. Our minister at the time was Monty Cooper. He baptized me, and man, I was on fire. The next year after that, something happened. I entered what we called junior high. It was actually 8th and 9th grade in our system. I know that's weird. But I entered junior high, and man, it just kind of threw me for a loop. I continued to go to church. I continued to be involved in my youth group, but my commitment to Jesus was not very strong. And I kind of lived that way until my sophomore year of high school, where I made the decision. Because I was tired of living the double life. Even at a young age, I was tired of living that double life. And I said to myself, self, remember it's okay to talk to yourself. Self, you either got to take this Christianity stuff serious or you got to let it go. Fortunately, I decided to take it serious. So much so that a couple years later, I decided I was going to Johnson Bible College to prepare for ministry. And so that's exactly what I did. I'm one of those guys that squeezed a 4-year degree into 6. Took me 6 years to finish, but I did it. I did it. I graduated and I worked in local church ministry for a couple of years, about 3 years. And then in the year 2000, I started a ministry called Upside Down Ministries. Man, I loved it. I got to travel around and to churches and to church camps and do youth events and do concerts and do revivals. Oh man, it was awesome. And I thought, man, I could do this for the rest of my life. But God had other plans. About 8 years later, I did it for 8 years, God called me away from Upside Down Ministries. So man, that was tough to give up. Matter of fact, he probably started calling me out of Upside Down Ministries about 1.5 years before that, but I didn't want to listen because I loved what I was doing. But I obeyed God's call and eventually went back into local church ministry. And by this time, one of the reasons I think God had called me to do that, we had little kids at this time at home, and with Upside Down Ministries I was traveling a lot and I just needed to be home with them. Went back into local church ministry for about 7 years, and after that I started doing what I'm doing now. Now I'm using speaking and coaching to bring the power of enthusiasm to those who are ready to inspire their fire. I am on a mission to break the monotony of the mundane and the mediocre by bringing as much enthusiasm to as many businesses, ministries, marriages, and individual lives as I possibly can. I do that through these videos, I do that through live speaking events, I do that through coaching, I do that through writing, I do it in as many ways as I possibly can, because that is my mission, that is my call, that is what God has me doing right now at this point in my life. Now, I hope He has me doing this for the rest of my life. I would be perfectly satisfied with that. He may call me to something else somewhere along the way, just like He did with Upside Down Ministries. But regardless, this is what He's got me doing now. And I love what I get to do on a daily basis. Even today, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice or not, but I am not well. But I'm still doing this because this is my passion. This is my enthusiasm zone. This is what feeds my enthusiasm. And everything in my past has led me to this point. And just think about this. It all started with a fire. What's your fire? What has God ignited inside of you that drives you to never settle, to live with passion, and to turn the world upside down? Find that fire and you will feed your enthusiasm. Hey guys, if you want to become a part of the fellow enthusiast community, one of the best ways to do that is to subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the button below. Go ahead, do it. I know you want to do it. Do it now. Come on.